Adrian, what's up, bro?
What is going
Thanks
on?
for hopping on.
Thank you guys for having me.
Episode 12? 12?
Was that a confident 12?
12. It's 12. Noah said yes.
Yeah.
So it's 12. Episode 12, TNG Podcast. Thank you guys for hopping in. Adrian, appreciate you coming on. Adrian Alvarez.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This is awesome, man.
You don't have to lie.
Yeah, jeez.
No, I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thankfully, it's not
you seem
live
excited.
like it used to be because it used to be,
It's basically the exact same thing.
pressure's on.
So, Adrian, who are you, man? Tell the pod who you are. We'll get a little bit about your story.
All right, cool. Yeah. First of all, thank you guys for having me. Super grateful to be here. Like we always talk about, gratitude, man. Grateful to be around you guys. Name's Adrian Alvarez. I'm from East Chicago, Indiana, and now living in Hammond. Grew up playing baseball all my life up until college. Ended up getting my marketing degree from Purdue Northwest out in Hammond, and after that, worked a little bit in marketing out in Chicago. Good time there, but ended up just leaving and getting into real estate, and actually worked with Alex and his team as their marketing manager for a little bit, and that was towards like summertime, I guess.
Yeah, so you were supposed to be doing Noah's job,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you were around us, and you're like, nah, I want to sell.
I want to be on the other side of
Yeah.
that camera.
Yeah. I was like, wait a
Which
minute.
please don't
man.
do that.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I was
Thank
like,
you.
wait a minute. Now he's on
We need you,
realestateexpress.com.
He saw the sales contest yesterday. and was like, I want in, dude.
He's like,
He's making
got
his
any more of
profile.
those license?
Yeah, he's on CE Shop right now. But saw the real estate side, something that I always had interest in, and talked about it with friends, but never got too serious about it. But I think being around your guys' atmosphere and like just being in the office with you guys and seeing you guys how you run the business and how you've been doing so well, and just seeing the potential in it, it was kind of a no-brainer. And thankfully, got to be a part of this team, and now, here doing a podcast with you guys, and, really excited about it.
Cool,
Yeah,
man.
man. Where did you go to high school at?
I went to East Chicago Central.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Played baseball all 4 years, man.
Mm-hmm.
this is a famous PBD question. It's one of our mentors, but who were you in high school? What were you like? Were you like the jock? I know that baseball was huge for you. Were you like reserved, quiet kid? What were you like?
I'll tell you what, if you were to ask any of my teachers, probably up until senior year, who I was, they would not know who I was, man.
Really?
Did not talk in class.
Quiet kid?
I stayed to myself.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Stayed to myself big
could see
time,
that.
man. Didn't want to stand out or anything. Just like, I'd be cool in the corner, man, whatever.
Just get your stuff done. And
Yeah. Got my stuff done, went home. Like, that's
Yeah.
it. And then until baseball started, that's when I kind of got out of my shell because, you're on a team, you're around people, you kind of want to get to know your teammates and be a good teammate. And then as I got older, really liked the role of like kind of being the leader on the team and kind of helping out the younger guys. So as I got older into high school, I felt like I was more of the guy who played baseball, but just kind of meant business. A big role model of me was Derek Jeter. Like Derek Jeter went to work, he did his thing. Yeah, he did his thing very humbly, and he did a good job at it. And that's what I always felt like do your job, do it well, and then the results will kind of speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Like lead by example kind of.
Yeah, 100%.
Yo, we got to touch on something that should have been the intro, but you guys have the same
Yeah,
shirt, smaller
dude.
checkers. How did we not say anything about that?
Terry was giving us a hard
Planned
time
it.
about it.
Of course, Terry was, man.
Yeah.
Old T. Taylor got
Old T.
something to say
Taylor,
about that.
man.
Well, dude, look, I mean, you basically just got double the size of checkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people are gonna think this is like a Nickla Group uniform.
I was just gonna,
so.
yeah, because I got one of them shirts too.
You should have suited up, man.
I should have said, well, if I would have
Come
known,
on,
if you guys
brother.
would have texted me and not just made it a separate personal text amongst the two of you.
This thing looks like
No,
you
we
can
could
make
have
it
all
into-
just matched up. Maybe maybe that's a podcast thing. Yeah, just
It
show
might
up,
be,
everyone
yeah.
wears the same thing.
This thing looks like a tablecloth, buddy.
About to have a picnic.
Yeah, for real. Just take this puppy off.
Go out to the
break
square.
bread.
They just set up some picnic tables out there.
Oh,
We can go
perfect.
set up.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what that project was. Well, dude, so all right, so then baseball was a big part of your life. You went to college for baseball, right?
Yes.
Talk a little bit on your story with baseball and like what your goals were and how that led you to this.
Yeah,
point.
I mean, like, I think every professional athlete, as a kid probably wanted to be a professional athlete, and
Yeah.
thankfully for them, it worked out, and obviously for a lot of others, it doesn't. But that was my dream, like shortstop for the Cubs. Every shortstop that the Cubs had, I was like, oh, I want to be like that guy. But really, when I got money to go to school, because I wasn't really sure if college was the thing for me, but the reason I went strictly to play baseball. I was like, all right, well, I got a scholarship to play baseball, so guess I got to go to school now, and like I liked business and I liked it, but I just felt like, there was more of that entrepreneurial side of me that's like, well, maybe I could just do something on my own, which is kind of where real estate came in. But in college, yeah, I was really going to like pro tryouts in the summer. I remember we went to somewhere in Wisconsin, can't remember the town, but tried out for the Milwaukee Brewers, and it went pretty well, but it was just the size, dude. Like, I'm not a big guy, and there's guys there who are shortstops, and shortstops aren't naturally like the bigger dudes, but these guys are like 6'2", 200, just throwing gas across the diamond. I'm like, yeah. And I told myself in high school, if by the time I'm 25, I got no chance, I gotta move on and do something else. And like, as hard as it was to like hang up the cleats, I told myself, like, I can't keep doing this. I gotta find something, whether it's in, you know, real estate or a business thing, and like move on. So that was probably a harder part of my life, but at the same time, I knew what to expect back in high school. I told myself, hey, dude, you gotta let it go if it doesn't work out.
Yeah. And before we started talking about real estate, you hit, we got connected because of just like an entrepreneurship interview. Like, you were really into creating content around entrepreneurship and business and putting stuff out there on books and mindset, all that stuff. So touch on your journey with that, with like, you know, the brand that you were building with that and what you were doing.
Yeah. So I think that was really important for me. I've always told, like, even like younger entrepreneurs, I'm not saying I'm 10 years in the business and stuff, but for the last maybe like 4 years or so, when I first started after baseball was done, I started this baseball like coaching company called Rough Diamonds Baseball, and we made a logo for it. We made T-shirts, and it was just a coaching program. And then I really liked running my own business, and I thought, well, this is kind of hard because not everyone knows what the entrepreneurial side can be like. And I thought for me, it got really lonely because it's not your typical thing. Like, no one in my family really does any entrepreneurial things. They would like to, but it just wasn't the norm, which is, you know, obviously more common. But for me, I'm like, I have no one to talk to. So I'm like, well, what about social media? So I made this social media page, and it was called, at first it was like a mindset maverick, and it was just about to be like something different about your mindset. But I always felt in entrepreneurship and in business, and probably in life, man, the biggest thing that you could control is your mindset. And if you could control that, you can control almost anything, how you feel, how you react, how you respond to things. And that was my main thing. So I thought in entrepreneurship, there's a lot of stuff you can't control, but if you can focus on what you can control, then, you know, you can start developing a better mindset. Want to start working on my personal development, books. And then that was a big reason why I went to Region Hustle, which is where I met you. And a lot of the things you shared were similar to me. Ed Milet, Tony Robbins, even Patrick Bet-David, Joe Rogan, like people who had that mindset where they might have been in a shitty situation or something like that, but they got themselves out of it. And I felt that was a big thing for people to learn on how to control that. And then kind of just dove into business because doing business isn't always easy when it's based on the work you put in, you know?
Yeah.
Right. So you did that and then started interviewing people, you know, putting out content based on that. And then it's funny because you reached out to me about right when I was like, all right, we need someone to make content for. You reached out to me about like this company, like, hey, talk to this company about this position. I don't think I'm interested in it, you know, but just had some questions about real estate. Yeah. And I was like, dude, we're looking for that position, right? So I was like, hey, man, are you interested to come meet with me? You know, which is kind of like literally that week, that exact week, if you want to talk about how, you know, the universe and God works.
Man.
That exact week, I was like, I need to find somebody this week. And you called me, you're like, hey, man, you know, I'm looking at this position. I was like, dude, we need that. And I'm literally looking for that. And you're like, well, I'm interested in. And then you came, started doing some graphic design for us, started doing some marketing. Then you saw the team, like we had touched on, and you were like, this is more kind of what fits in for me and who I am. So talk about why you decided to get into real estate as a salesperson after, you know, the background, like you did a little bit of marketing for out in Illinois. You were working for a company, you were doing some sales out there. You were doing, you know, obviously everything with your content page and social media. So touch on why, after being here and involved with the team and seeing the real estate world, why you decided, you know what, I want to get into the sales route and build my own sales business.
Yeah, I think for me it was a no-brainer, man. I really saw what I've talked to a friend of mine about a lot, man. I said, if you have a good leader, then you can have the worst job in the world. But if you have a good leader, it makes a job worth it. But if you have a terrible leader and a great job, a lot of people will leave that job. It could be a great job, but the leadership, the team around you is just horrible. But you can work, like I was a cashier for a lot longer than I wanted to be. But I had great leadership and great coworkers that made that like tough job or bad customer experience worth it because of people around me. So every time I was here, I'm like, it could be like my worst day of real estate, And being around you guys and your kind of mindset and your leadership really made me feel like it could be the worst day here, but I'd rather be the worst day here than the best day somewhere else with a bad team and a bad leader, because I'd rather be here on my quote unquote worst real estate day where things don't work out, or bad phone calls, or whatever the case may be. But I really think that's important too, because it's like, I used to think, does everything happen for a reason? And I feel like that conversation that we had on the phone, it was just interviews with other companies, other real estate companies, and just didn't seem like a right fit. But when talking to you, I'm like, yeah, dude, like, he's close to my age. He gets a lot of the stuff I get. And even like stuff like the book club and things like that we did. You guys welcomed me like I was part of the family, even though I'll be honest, I didn't feel like part of the family, because I'm like, damn, I'm not an agent though. I want to, but at the same time, it was just me saying like, well, I can also be an agent. Let's just see what happens. And I think the main thing that pushed me to do that was just kind of seeing your guys' work ethic, and honestly seeing when you guys had rough days, everyone had someone's back to be like, hey, this happens. This is how you move on from it, or don't worry about that. It's a bad experience, and things like that. And something like that is what I always looked for. And it goes back to the entrepreneurial Instagram page I made. All I was looking for really, man, was like camaraderie and a family and a team. And that's why I made that page. Yeah. That was a big thing for me in baseball too. Like being on a solid team and a good coach was, we could be a decent team, but I'd rather be on a decent team with great teammates and a great coach than a really good team with like terrible teammates and a terrible coach. So we're winning, but toxic. Are we really enjoying this? So that's why I felt like here it was like, we could be winning, making money, doing well in business, helping people, but also having a good time and liking each other, like liking to see who's in the office today.
And one more thing, deeper. And by the way, I appreciate that, man, because that's exactly like, I don't want to be in a place that I don't want to go to every single day. And every day I walk into this office, I'm looking at you guys and everybody that's here, and I freaking love being here. So that's what I wanted to create for myself. When I was most miserable was when I was successful, but I was alone. And it was just me. I was literally miserable, stressed, anxious, never had either of those things. And then once there was a team that we were working together, same thing, man, that camaraderie of a team. Okay, but there's one thing that we're missing here as far as why you got into real estate, and it's the deeper side of it. So talk about your mom.
Yeah, of course. You guys probably see me cry too many times, but that's the thing though. When we talk about our why, I told Tara this, and after we came from Michigan, so anyone who's watching doesn't know, we had a retreat to Michigan. We talk about our why, like why we do the business. So long story short, it's my mom, and I never really talked about that out loud with anyone. It's weird.
Really?
It's like you would think, my best friends, but we just never really talked about that, because like it just never came up. It's like, why do you do what you do? It's like, I guess because I got to pay bills, or, But when we talked about it as a team, I think that was like the closest I've been in, like, not saying you guys are strangers, but you guys didn't even know me that well. You already saw me crying at like Yuki Country Club, Yeah. But I felt like the reason why was because I saw the potential in real estate being as high as you want it to be. As much work that you're willing to put into real estate is what you can get out. And for me, that was never an issue. I like the work, and I like to be able to help people out, but at the same time, got to help my mom out. So I come from a single mother. Growing up, it was just me and her. Obviously, we have my uncles and aunts and everyone that helped us out. But at the end of the day, my mom's just raising me, But she would work midnights. She would go to school and like do everything she had to do to keep me fed, to keep me, happy, and not really even know if we were struggling, And I think that always pushed me to do more. So like even now on my vision board, it's just a picture of me and her, and it has like. There was this thing I printed off from Google, was like someone writing a letter saying like, congrats to my mom retiring today. Just something like that. So I think that was a big reason why I saw, like, not to say it's just the money, but there is a lot of money that can be made in real estate that you can't really do somewhere else. Like, a regular salary job, awesome thing. But what I wanted to do wouldn't be enough to provide for my mom and in turn retire her someday, and then like also at the same time provide for the rest of my family who's helped me out so much, man. I've always said that you can go far alone, but we go farther together, and that's what we've talked about a lot with the team. And that was something that pushed me. It's like I can work as hard as I can and still make a good amount of living for myself, but also provide for the people who have helped me. Because it's like I've had a lot of help. Like I've never like self-made. Like you could be self-made and do everything on your own, but at the same time, I give a lot of credit to my mom, my family, and everyone who's like had my back. And that was a big reason why real estate was like such a big thing because I just kind of saw what you're able to provide for your family, and like stuff like that was like inspiring, and like just seeing the potential of it. It's like it'd be dumb not to at least go into this and like, you know, tell myself like I can do this, you know?
Yeah, 100%, man. That's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that.
Thank
Yeah. And now what's cool about it too, man, is you get to do that by, you know, because here's the thing: could you retire your mom with a job like a more traditional salary? Like you definitely could. Like, but as far as though, I think what's important is that it fits who you are as a person, your personality. Because the thing is like you. Like who you are, that doesn't necessarily fit with who you are to go. And you've always kind of had this mindset of entrepreneurship. Like from when you were younger, you were doing business stuff. So even just like, I'm very similar in that, like, I like doing things on my own. That is my own schedule, right? It is on my own time. Like I have the freedom to make the decisions. Like even if you look at Noah, like Noah's got the ability, even now as we're moving forward this position, he's got some freedom of schedule and time, you know, like he gets to come in and so it's different, but again, that fits who he is and his personality. I think this fits who you are as an athlete who's been on a team and as somebody that's always had this thought of like business minded. And so it fits because I can relate to that in a lot of ways, you know? So, but tying into probably the last part, and then we'll get into a couple stories, is what's cool about it now though is what's awesome about real estate is you can build your business to who you are. And I think what's good is like, if you guys don't follow Adrian, you need to, because it's fun, man. He's hilarious. It's hilarious. And that's and what's cool, man, is you can be yourself.
Yeah.
And by continually putting in this effort of creating, you know, good, valuable content for people that is funny to watch, but also informative. Like you got to watch, you have to follow Adrian's stuff, dude. It's freaking hilarious. And you have to just keep pushing on that because, dude, that's genuinely, authentically who you are, right? Like when we're in here, dude, it's just like making funny jokes and saying funny shit that is hilarious. I don't know.
Quick one-liners that's like very dry. And
yes. And then you take that into a reel or a TikTok, and it's funny. Like, so I highly recommend you do that. But talk about why you're doing it that way, and then like, I don't know, just talk about the content you're making.
That's probably the most exciting part I want to talk about today, because like
I'm glad you asked.
So like when we were talking about like who I was in high school, like, dude, that was not me. Like I was just not. I didn't want any attention. And I'm not saying I want attention now, but at the same time, it's like you can be who you want to be, you know. And it felt like that creative freedom. And I've always been a really goofy kid, man. Like if you were to ask my mom or my uncles, like there's times where my mom or my aunts have said like, something ain't right with that boy. like something's not right with him. And I was just like goof off, but like I felt comfortable around my family. I wouldn't be like that in school because I'm like, I'm gonna get made fun of.
Right.
But like it was cool to get out of my shell, and like now in my head I'm thinking, well, I mean, if people like it, awesome. If they don't want to work with me because of that, probably wouldn't be a good fit anyway. And that was something I always try to teach to people too. Like at the end of the day, you could be genuinely you, and someone doesn't like it, and that happens.
It probably would have been a terrible transaction in the first place.
Yeah. And at the same time, it's like, well, wouldn't you want to work with someone who loves your stuff, who cracks it up, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, I always felt like the creative side was easy to do because growing up as an only child, you know, like if anyone's watching as an only child, you had to be imaginative as hell. Like I was having lightsaber battles and being a ninja at the same time, you know, like
man,
you just had to do all
by myself.
Long day.
Worn out. But yeah, and it's cool to be able to make content like that. And I see other creators who do that, and like at the same time, I'm not trying to copy them, but put my own spin on it and have fun with it. And it was something really cool because, like you said, in real estate, people will connect with you as a person. You can have all these deals and all this experience, but if you guys don't really meet on the same level or you're, you know, same vibe as each other, then it's kind of a weird transaction, a weird relationship. So luckily for me, I've been able to work with people who love the videos, and it's awesome because it feels like they know me even before we meet in person, just because they see me on camera and stuff like that. So
that's very true.
Yeah, and and I feel like the jokes between us have worked because they know what I like to joke about and stuff like that. And growing up, just watching funny movies and, you know, being able to relate that to business is awesome. And I think it's something that should be utilized more because I feel a lot of people would think, well, if I share this, maybe they won't like me, or if I share
Right.
this. But at the same time, it's your business, and you're gonna attract the people you want to attract. And I think that's the best thing when people reach out to you because they like you for you,
Yeah.
not
Correct.
just you're a realtor, right? You can help me get a house.
Yeah.
This is more like, hey, I love your videos. Would you also like to be my realtor?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's been the coolest part of the business.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome. No,
Yeah.
Like I said, you gotta
You're
check out his stuff.
crushing
It's
it,
hilarious. What's like, what comes to mind as far as like one of his
Dude,
things
I
that he
liked
made?
when he did a showing for a Barbie house. That
Oh
was a good
yeah,
time.
my
That's a good one.
goddaughter's house
The goddaughter's
with the Mercedes
Yeah,
outside.
that was hilarious.
And then,
dude.
well, the most recent one, what, you were mowing the lawn for the seller to get your
Yeah.
buyer's offer accepted, right?
Yeah.
Which is funny because I was mowing the lawn. I went like, this will actually. Hold on, I got an idea.
Yeah.
Man.
And that's the
It
thing,
just
man.
comes out. I don't know. It's
That's
weird.
the best. Keep that creative mindset too.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
Yeah.
that's awesome. The like cheesy ass commercial where
Oh,
we did
yeah.
working with the Nickla Group was a
One of
home
my
run.
yeah. Dude, one of my favorites was probably the one where I was like playing you, role playing with
Bro,
me.
Oh,
those
that-
are-
whenever
whenever
you-
you
Dude, that
imitate-
was true, man.
Whenever
Oh,
you
man.
imitate, yo, that one is so good. Whenever you imitate me, I think it's hilarious.
That is
by the
so
way.
funny,
Like
dude.
when you're like, and I don't know. I think that's so funny.
That's literally
Yeah.
what happened. So like, yeah, it was just.
You're like, oh, okay, yeah.
I think we were sitting here.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
It was
Man.
like my second week as an agent. I'm like, oh my god, I just read the scripts yesterday. Like, that was fun though.
Well, check out
That's too
Adrian's
good, dude.
Instagram specifically. Are you putting these on TikTok? no?
Not yet. No,
Okay,
they're on
bro, you need
Facebook
to.
and Instagram.
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram. We start getting you on TikTok because those are the ones that would do really well there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
But,
it'll blow
well,
up.
we got a couple stories to go
Gotcha.
through. Being from East Chicago and living in Hammond, that's kind of an area that you know quite a bit. So we got one story there. We got a story in Crown Point for the update on the Franciscan Health. Might touch on the Gary YWCA today. We might push that story off to some more knowledge depending on how much time we
Yeah.
got.
Yeah,
And
we'll
then so I got some cool properties to look at. Realtor.com's top 10 listings of the week. So first story is new developments hope to reinvigorate Hammond's downtown. They've been talking about this for a while now, Mayor Tom McDermott. So let's see. It will be a busy spring for the downtown Hammond corridor. Bold vision for redevelopment paired with the $50 million of American Rescue Act funding Hammond received has brought the start to several new projects. Mayor McDermott talked about the excitement that they've got going on, how they've been working on this for a while. Talks about how he understands that there's some people who are skeptical of this, being that the last 3-4 years or 3-4 decades, downtown Hammond's not too much, haven't as too much going on. But he's very optimistic about this right now. So some of the things that they're doing. Some downtown housing. I'll go through this. This is a NWI Times story. The Rimbach realignment, downtown housing, will also help the city create the Rimbach Plaza. This will give residents a central gathering place located at Rimbach Street and Homan Avenue. Plaza will be framed by storefronts on 3 sides with iconic rotunda fountain sculpture in the center. Let's see. The plaza will sit in front of Rimbach Square, a 208-unit apartment complex planned for an underutilized parking lot off Homan. More housing is planned for the northeast corner of Sibley Street and Homan Avenue with a 54-unit Madison Lofts complex. And the 5-story building is $15 million project, which also has 87,000 square feet of retail space. And the former Bank Calumet building undergo a $24 million redesign that will include over 100 residential units, 7,000 square foot of retail. All 3 complexes are scheduled to break down this year. Mayor McDermott said walkable urban housing will fuel downtown's revitalization. Today's housing market would show people want to live more in downtowns as opposed to suburbs. New downtown residential options will complement the South Shore Train Westlake Corridor expansion, which will include a downtown stop ideal for commuters, which is huge.
Yeah.
McDermott said the rail project will extend the Northwest Indiana Commuter Transportation District existing rail service downtown Hammond to Dyer. So they're going to add 2 stops, set to complete by 2024. So looking to add 2 Hammond stations, a South Hammond station off 173rd Street and a Hammond Gateway station. Potentially looking at a 3rd station. And then there was one note in here I want to make sure there's one other thing Mayor McDermott talked about, some of the stuff that they want downtown as far as some of the things that they're looking for. And they're hoping to add. Here we go. Looks like they're going to add 40 spaces of angled parking down the center, parallel parking, 8 to 11-foot sidewalks on either side, decorative lighting with banner arms, and large, fast-growing trees along curb lines down the center. McDermott said that the goal is to slow traffic down to make shoppers and retailers more relaxed when convening to downtown. The weakness in downtown Hammond is a couple things. One big thing is that it is hard to feel comfortable when you park on one side of Hammond Ave and when you walk across to the business side, their traffic is going 40, 50 miles an hour. So their goal is to slow that down, make it more inviting, bring some cool lights, stuff like that. So being from the area, Adrian, thoughts on this and what Hammond is working to do with their downtown?
Yeah, actually, one of my first showings was right down the block from that area where they're trying to do stuff, and my uncles had even said, like, man, if this place had, something going on, that'd be really cool. And I think this article might have came out, like, right after that, but either way, we were talking about, like, it'd be a nice area. And 2 years ago, I was doing a Toastmaster speaking club, and one of the ladies used to live in downtown Hammond, and she always said, it was so much nicer here back in the day, and this and that. I wish they did some redevelopment and things like that. And I reached out to her recently because of this article, because our Toastmasters Club is supposed to start back up. And she's, like, super thrilled about it. So, I mean, I haven't been in Hammond my whole life, but for her and, like, another resident I know that's been there forever, they were pretty excited about it. There's a lot of potential down there. Like, I don't go to downtown Hammond as much. There is a brewery out there, but, I mean, outside of that, there wasn't anything that, for me, let's just say my first year in Hammond or so, there was nothing attracting me to go to that area. But now, just seeing, like, the blueprints and seeing what's going on, it seems like something more inviting for people, even if you're not from Hammond.
Well, that's exactly what they're looking to do. I mean, if we talk about the hottest real estate markets that in Northwest Indiana, as far as investment, right? Places that people want to rent, like the rental prices in Hammond are crazy, and people looking to buy, right? So if you look at what's happening in Hammond over from my experience, the last 4 years, the prices are a lot higher. A lot of people are moving there and spending money there. It's very hard to keep a property that's priced well in Hammond on the market. So it's a lower price point, right? But it's raising significantly. So if you add this to it, I mean, this is bringing the people who have moved there, and they're like, well, what are we going to do in Hammond? Now you bring some nice retail, a nice downtown. I mean, what's my favorite thing about being here in Crown Point is the downtown. There's a number of other things, but, like, the downtown is awesome because we get to go eat, we get to walk around, so if you add that to it with all the people that have been moving there, right, and the demand that's there from housing, it's very strong for the demand there. So, Mitch, you got something on that?
I think that it's just like a classic case of, like, highest and best use of the space. Like, they were talking about utilizing a underutilized parking garage for some of the footprint of the new development, and it's like, that's awesome to see. Parking lot. Yeah. Okay. Either way, it's good to see, like, an empty parking lot get turned into something that's going to be used, whether there's a business there, whether there's housing there, whatever it is. As long as it's being used at its highest and best use, that's what's best for the community. And you're right. Development like this brings people to the area. Folks from Illinois and other areas that come across the line, when they go over there now, they're like, there's not much going on right here. 2024, they got the commuter rail, they got all that shopping, they got all that housing. It's a whole different equation for them.
It's a different ballgame. And then at that point, they just have to continue working on school districts to bring in more families and things like that for kids and so on.
Absolutely.
But overall, man, I mean, if you look at this design and this development, it's beautiful. I mean, it's great. I mean, that's a real nice apartment complex. It's nice rental space, nice fountain area, bringing all the retail. It gives people something to do, combined with, like, you wanted to touch on too, brewery wise. I mean, really what takes you to one of the things that takes people to Hammond, 18th Street, right? Which was, you want to touch on that? Like,
actually, so 18th Street Brewery is in downtown Hammond, and that was probably one of the only places I really have been to in downtown Hammond the last couple of years. And we were looking at the article, I want to say in 2019 or 2020, it was voted 2020 USA Today had as the #1 brewery in the U.S. And it's an awesome spot. They have a distillery now that they're going to relocate and have their own spot for the distillery. So really cool development there. And I'll tell you what, anytime they have events where it's like, I want to say their anniversary is coming up, that place is packed from the moment they open to the moment they close. It's just packed, and almost no parking. Like, you got to park it down the block. So it's definitely going to be right in that area where people are like, all right, what else is out here? And that's been there the whole time. It's been a solid business.
That's awesome, man. Heck yeah. Well, I mean, good things. Right? I think it's a good thing. Again, from our perspective, when it comes to Hammond, properties are selling very quickly there. I've got clients who have rental properties there and investments there, and those properties come up, and the rent price, like you're seeing people pay the same amount in rent at similar properties to areas like, I mean, I would argue that their rental prices are higher than areas like Valpo, because Valpo has so much
for rent.
product,
Yeah.
and it's more of a home buying area. Same thing. Like I've got clients who purchase properties there, and the rent amounts now are significantly higher than we had expected, and they're solid tenants. They're solid people that are moving that area. So, it's going to be interesting to see when you add this to it to give them more to do where they live. So, I think it's great, and I think if anyone could do it, Mayor McDermott's got the power to do it. So, pretty sweet. Next story. Let's go. Number 2 is going to be this is a big one. So the Franciscan Health in Crown Point, the one on 231 I-65 is being developed. Absolutely. I mean, it's a huge addition to Crown Point.
Yeah.
That is from what I've told, is over $300 million development. I could be wrong on the number, but somewhere around there.
Big number.
Big number. And that combined with University of Chicago, right? So University of Chicago is coming I-65 and 109th.
Yep.
And this is at I-65 and 231. So some competition between some huge healthcare providers. And it looks like Franciscan said, okay, University of Chicago is coming. We got to make a pivot. And so update here, Lurie Children's Hospital Chicago specialists to come to Franciscan Health in Crown Point. Franciscan Health Crown Point, this is a NWI Times story. Crown Point and Robert H. Lurie Children's Hospital of Chicago are partnering to provide a neonatal care in Northwest Indiana. Lurie Children's neonatologists will provide medical care at the 20-bed Level 3 neonatal intensive care unit at the new Franciscan Health in Crown Point starting in September. Lurie Children's neonatal program ranks 9th nationally according to U.S. News, and they just talk about how they're excited to do this. And I mean, this is a big deal, right? Because you, Mitch, this is a personal experience for you with your family and your son.
Yep.
You guys, where do you guys go for your care for your son, right?
Yeah, so my son has cystic fibrosis. I don't know if we've mentioned that on the pod yet.
I don't think so.
But yeah, he goes to Riley Children's Hospital now in Indianapolis. So that's quite a drive for us.
Mm-hmm.
We chose to go to Riley's because they were the highest rated for his specific the care he needs. They were the best in the Midwest. So that's why we choose to go there. We would probably choose to continue to go there, even if Lurie's moved into Crown Point. Mm-hmm. Not bad on Lurie's or their service, but that's just our choice.
Yeah.
But it's good to see that Lurie's is coming because there are so many kids in the region that have different rare diseases or just need help, man. And when you look at everything that's happening with Franciscan and University of Chicago, the competition that they're creating along that 65 corridor, the winner in that competition is the residents of Northwest Indiana.
Yes. I
mean, those two are going to duke it out and just keep bringing better service to the region. So, I think it's awesome.
This is big, man. This is huge. I mean, now Crown Point is not only going to have a University of Chicago, but now they're going to have a Lurie's Children's Hospital, both within 2 miles of each other.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And brand new facilities that are going to be high level. I mean, it's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome, man.
Absolutely.
So for people like you, got obviously, the specialty for your son, what your son's got makes sense to go to Riley's, but to have something right here in the region for different specialties is going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. That we kind of talked about this the first time we brought up the hospital, but you think of like all the people that live in Northwest Indiana that travel up to Chicago or down to Indy for their specialty care. Like the last thing that they should have to worry about is the logistics of how they're going to get to their appointments. Yeah. And having something right here, like in-house, so to say, is just a beautiful thing.
Huge.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, we'll finish up based on time. We'll save the Gary story for what happens.
Let that develop a little bit.
We've got this is kind of a cool one. So every week, Realtor.com does a top 10, like their top 10 most popular homes based on how many people click and go look at it and how many times it's shared and all that. We'll share the article. This was actually from a couple weeks ago, but pretty fun one. This is from the first week of May, so it's a couple weeks back. But some cool properties here. So we'll share this one. What's cool about this is the number 9 property. By the way, this is Realtor.com, so this is everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. Everything on Realtor.com. The number 9th most popular shared property was actually a property in Cedar Lake. listed for $799,000. Real cool. We'll link it up here so you guys can see it. But it's a 3-bedroom like barn, right? It's basically a barn dominium as they call them, but it is cool, man. It's on 2 acres. A real cool property. It's listed for $799,000. It's got a 2-car attached lower level garage, and this thing is gnarly, man. No, I'll send you the link. You can link it up. But it's on 2 acres. It's actually still for sale. Surprisingly, because it's got a separate pole barn that's detached as well. It's got like a living area above it. This is one of the coolest properties I've ever seen for sure. It is awesome in Northwest Indiana. And so this is a real cool one. And we'll link that in. But if you guys are interested in checking out that property, it's $799,000, 2 acres of land, barn dominium. I mean, it's cool. It's all wooded, surrounded completely by woods. I should pull it up on there so you guys could see it. But then to round it out, or to finish out the list, there's some other real cool properties on here that you guys can take a look at in the link. But the number one was a $72 million island. Okay,
Dang.
You guys want an island? 348 acres. Cromwell Island in the middle of Flathead Lake is the largest private island west of the Mississippi. Largest island west of Mississippi. And
gotta worry about
the
neighbors.
mega mansion on the, what is that?
Don't got to worry about the neighbors.
Ain't got to worry about nothing. Social distancing right
That's
there at
right.
its finest. 348 acres. And the mega mansion on the island certainly appears grand, but it's completely empty inside. It's not even done. So for $72 million, you can get 348 acres.
Wow.
A 348 acre island with a mega mansion that's literally not even completed. It's framed out.
Wow.
It's framed out. If you check it out, it's pretty. I mean, the property is incredible, but you got an island. You're going to go to the island. How are you going to get your materials there? Think about that.
What are the comps?
Got to boat it. What are the comps? Yeah, you're comping like nationally. I mean, this property is insane. If
Yeah,
you look at
it's
this house, but it's
unique.
literally like all stoned out and steel framing
That's
on the
crazy,
inside.
dude.
It's
That's
pretty
awesome.
crazy. Check that out. $72 million if you guys are interested.
And that was number 10?
That was number one.
Oh.
That was the number one. That rounded out
like,
the list.
dang.
No, that rounded out the list. But if you look at it
Wow.
on the map, dude, it's pretty gnarly. Like
Yeah,
it's
I bet.
348 acres, your own freaking island, up in over in Montana.
So that, like, just the fact that that Cedar Lake property made the list based on number of views, like, that tells you how many people are looking at Northwest Indiana.
Huge.
Like, you know, and there's people that
Yeah.
surf the whole country just to see cool houses, and they pick them out. But it's pretty cool.
Pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Good show.
All right. Thanks for
Thanks,
coming on,
dudes.
Adrian. I
Thank you guys
appreciate
for
it.
Appreciate it,
me.
man. Anything else you
Awesome
want?
time.
What's
anything else
your
you wanna say?
Instagram handle and all that?
Oh,
find it.
the Adrian Michael Alvarez, and on Facebook it's just Adrian Alvarez. But appreciate anyone who checks out the content, and anyone who enjoys it. Please, I'm gonna make a lot more dumb videos. So yeah, it's fun. It's entertaining or educating. So
Heck yeah.
Edutainment, right?
Yep, exactly.
That's right.
Sweet. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys watching the podcast. If we can get any sort of love, any comments, even if you just want to say cool, I don't care. Any comments on YouTube, any like, subscribe, sharing, all of that stuff helps the algorithm so that people start to share our podcast. We can get seen by more people. So your support would be huge. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. And thanks for watching. Talk to you guys soon.